Tianbao Fu Yao Lu. Chapter 165. Devil Qi leaving the body. As dawn broke, the stone castle slowly began to brighten. There was a loud commotion outside. The pentacolor sacred light in Hung Jun's hand enveloped Morigen's entire body, and after he called it back, Morigen breathed out and opened his eyes. "This is," Morigen looked around at his surroundings. "You need to rest," Hung Jun said, carrying him onto the bed. "How did you end up captured?" Morigen grabbed Hung Jun's wrist. "After I woke, I went around everywhere looking for you, only to run into a group of bodyguards." Shouts in the Shiwei language were still coming from outside, and the footsteps were getting closer and closer. Hung Jun turned to look towards the main door, and he asked Morigen, "Can you move?" With great effort, Morigen sat up, only to say, "My heart hurts a lot." Morigen called up his magic, and there was a bright flash of light. He turned into the grey wolf, but its legs could not stop trembling. The sounds of the search were getting closer and closer, but Hung Jun said, "You've been poisoned for too long, and the residual poison hasn't been gotten rid of yet. Rest for a while first." Hung Jun dragged the blankets over the grey wolf's body. The grey wolf seemed to want to say more, but Hung Jun waved his hand, turned, and pulled the window open, dashing outside. At the end of the corridor, the bodyguards were kicking open every door, searching each and every room of the stone castle for where Morigen and Hung Jun were hiding. The female shaman followed closely behind them, issuing orders in the Shiwei language. On the outside of the castle, Hung Jun climbed past several rooms. When he heard the voices approaching, he entered one of them, uncoiled the Yao binding rope, and turned to face the door, waiting for the Shiwei soldiers to come in. As expected, as soon as Hung Jun showed himself in the corridor, someone discovered him. They let out a loud shout, the gist of which was, "Don't let him escape." Hung Jun immediately turned and ran, and the soldiers swarmed through the corridor like a bunch of bees, conveniently overlooking Morigen's room. The Yao binding rope then began to glow, before it suddenly shot up from the ground and coiled around the soldiers' ankles, tripping a large group of them. This artifact was really too useful. Hung Jun suddenly had a flash of inspiration as he sprinted along, and he called the Yao binding rope back, before sending it out again, tripping up another large group of them. All he had in mind was leading his pursuers away, and after dashing out through the corridor, he leapt onto the roof of the long walkway that connected the two ends of the stone castle. It was a windy, moonless night, and Hung Jun sprinted across the rooftops, running as far as he could, getting further and further away from where Morigen was. At the same time, the grey wolf lay on the ground, panting for breath. A golden light shone from its heart, as if it was piercing through its body. That wisp of devil qi that Lushan had once planted in the very depths of its heart was blazing merrily, that golden light was turning it to ash. It let out woo-woo cries, and its pelt, which had been dyed a grayish-black by Lushan's devil qi, slowly changed color, turning back into a light gray blue. In the dark of the night, those wolf cries were low and deep, as if it was the wind blowing across the grasslands. Those cries carried far out past the stone castle. In the dark forest, countless green lights began to glow, winking into existence in the undergrowth like a river of stars. They surrounded the entire stone castle. The top of the stone castle echoed with shouts. The Shiwei troops, with torches in hand, had surrounded the main tower. Hung Jun stood tall at the very tip of the tower, surrounded by soldiers. He lifted the glaive in his right hand, the Yao binding rope wrapped around the wrist of his left, as he searched for a suitable spot that he could swing to. But it was late at night, and his surroundings were pitch black. The Shiwei troops drew their bows and knocked arrows to the strings, pointing the tips all at the form of Hung Jun up at the very top of the tower. As long as he activated the pentacolor sacred light, normal arrows would not be able to harm him at all, but Hung Jun's goal was to leave the stone castle and get out of the city as quickly as possible. He would lead them on a wild goose chase before vanishing into the night, then he would take the opportunity to come back and take Mo Rajin away. At that very moment, he saw a flash in the corridor in the distance. There was a wood pillar there, and he could use the wood pillar to swing out of the city and land on the city walls, where he could shake off his pursuers. In the blink of an eye, Hung Jun tossed out the Yao binding rope, which flew through the night sky with a shua. Using the wooden pillar as a fulcrum, he swung out in a perfect arc through the air. When he was at the apex of the arc, he pulled the Yao binding rope back, and leapt through the air towards the city walls. Right after that, a person came flying through the air, and Hung Jun managed to catch a glimpse as they flew towards him. That was the female shaman, who spread a pair of black crow wings. Hung Jun couldn't dodge in time, and he slammed right into her. "Good child, come with me," the female shaman said quietly in the Han language. She then reached out her index and middle fingers and touched them to Hung Jun's forehead. With a huge boom, black flames erupted from Hung Jun's body. The devil chi in his body rushed outwards wildly, spreading in every direction. Like a meteor lit by devil flames, he immediately began to plummet. Where he landed, the residences instantly collapsed. Before the Shiwei citizens could flee from underneath, the black flames set them alight, and their flesh split open as they turned into monsters that grimaced as they prowled along. The female shaman, Mo Lu, slowly landed. A roaring beast charged forward, but with a single slap, she pushed it to the side, where it exploded into pieces. The Shiwei guards surrounded them, and Mo Lu said one single, icy sentence. "Bring him back." Hung Jun was in unmeasurable pain as he suffered from those black flames. Lu Su seal had already completely lost effect, and the countless sobbing accusations swelled to the point that they felt as if they were going to erupt out of his chest. The nightmares that he had absorbed back in Dunhuang also made their appearance now, and they ran rampant through him. The guards did not dare to touch Hung Jun. The land several zhang around where he had landed had already been completely polluted, just like where in Lushan passed, that was due to the corruption of the devil chi. The Shiwei guards could only fasten metal chains and metal hooks around Hung Jun's wrists and drag him back to the stone castle. Mo Lu came to a darkened room. With both hands, she cast a spell, and as she murmured an incantation, a dark shadow floated into existence on the wall, and it spun slowly. "Caught him," Mo Lu said. "The plans of men cannot beat the plans of the heavens," a deep, rich voice said slowly. "For him to have fallen into my grasp at such a time. Let me see." Chang'an, the Daming Palace. The wind sobbed and howled, and the atmosphere was jittery with panic. The entire city was enveloped in an aura of unease and horror. In the underground hall of the Daming Palace, back fog slowly seeped away. Yang Qiuzhong stood in front of a ball of blazing flames, and 4 Yaoguai made of devil chi stood behind him. "Let me see," Yang Qiuzhong murmured. The flames parted, revealing Hung Jun, slumped unmoving on the ground. Mo Lu turned slightly so that Yang Qiuzhong could see what was happening. "Where's the other one?" Yang Qiuzhong asked. Mo Lu replied, "I will question him slowly, and I will be able to get the answer from him, one way or another." Yang Qiuzhong walked into the flames, which scattered. In the stone tower, that coiling, snake-like shadow took on human form and walked right out of the wall. The devil chi gathered into Yang Qiuzhong's form, but it seemed very weak, as if it could dissipate at any moment. "Lord Xiaoyu." Mo Lu couldn't help but take a step back, startled. This was the first time that Xiaoyu had been summoned and had arrived in person. "You are our final hidden piece," Yang Qiuzhong said. "Remember what I said. If there is no need, then you must not reveal yourself," Mo Lu said quietly. Yang Qiuzhong approached Mo Lu. Since they were separated by thousands of li, his power seemed to be unable to sustain this conversation for much longer. "Listen, Mo Lu," Yang Qiuzhong said quietly into her ear, placing a hand wreathed in black chi on Mo Lu's cheek. "En Lushan is very powerful, and I am in desperate need of devil chi. Right now, the final moment is almost upon us. Take the 3,000 nightmares of the world, as well as all the resentment of the Shiwei tribe, and bring it all back to me. I need to confirm that you are safe. At the same time, I need to conceal this from everyone, and I cannot let anyone know." As he spoke, Yang Kuozhong once again turned into black fog, which scattered, returning to the wall in the darkened room. Molu looked up, studying the wall. There was a mural on the wall, which depicted a huge, black snake, coiling around an odd beast, whose body was white and covered in patterns. Molu turned and walked towards Hung Jun. Hung Jun's breathing had grown heavy, but he was still slumped on the ground, unconscious. Molu murmured, "Then, come." And as she spoke, she reached out a hand. Hung Jun immediately floated into the air. Dense black chi appeared over his chest, which Molu pulled into her body. Hung Jun immediately woke at that, and he let out a loud shout of pain. The shout seemed to rip through the Shiwei night sky. In the darkness, the gray wolf heard that pained cry, and it struggled with all its might to get to its feet. The golden light in its chest swiftly expelled its devil chi. Hung Jun's eyes went wide. All he felt was that the devil chi and nightmares in his body were being swiftly pulled away by this female shaman opposite him. He didn't know what was going on, and he lifted a hand with great difficulty, but his artifacts had already been confiscated. Molu's face was twisted into a grimace, as if she was currently suffering the onslaught of the devil chi. "You are," Hung Jun saw that an odd, glowing form had appeared behind Molu. The shape of that glowing silhouette seemed to be one that he had seen before in the Yao vanquishing records. "Why are you able to?" Hung Jun asked, his voice trembling. "Don't move," Molu said soothingly. "Don't move. Be good, everything will be all right soon." "You are a taper." Hung Jun suddenly widened his eyes as he recalled an ancient legend, the taper that ate dreams. Devil chi was swiftly pulled out of Hung Jun's body. After that initial burst of pain passed, Hung Jun actually felt his entire body lighten. He lifted his hands, and the pentacolor sacred light gleamed out from them, replacing the devil chi. The meridians in his body had actually been completely cleansed. "Why?" Hung Jun asked, as he felt the nightmares being pulled away, as the dream taper sucked away the devil chi in his body. "Why do you risk your life to save me?" "Molu." Molu seemed to have lost her ability to control this devil chi, and she let out a howl of pain. Hung Jun yelled, "Stop! You're going to die." Molu gritted her teeth as she looked towards Hung Jun. In the next instant, all of the nightmares were pulled away, and what appeared in front of Hung Jun was a huge, pitch-black beast. That beast looked both like a pig and an elephant, and after it drank down all of his nightmares, it let out a wild howl that made people shudder. The stone bricks in one corner of the tower collapsed, revealing the corrupted huge taper that climbed on top of them. Hung Jun was almost sent flying, but as he called the Yao binding rope to him, the huge taper had already dashed out of the darkened room. It collapsed the long corridor of the stone castle as it went, dashing towards the main tower. In the darkness, dense black chi rolled off that huge taper, turning into thousands of writhing snakes. Despite the continuous roars, the stone castle seemed like a city of the dead, almost no one had woken up. Hung Jun suddenly remembered, that was an indicator that the dream taper had complete control over them. He couldn't help trying to recall, how back in Dunhuang, he had sucked away the power of the nightmares from the heart devil, but as he raced along, doing his best to capture that black chi, he didn't know where to start. After obtaining the nightmares of all realms in Dunhuang, Lu Su had first used the seal of the dreamscape to temporarily seal away the power of those nightmares. Li Jinglong had then used the heart lamp to strengthen that seal. Now, however, the dream-eating taper had swallowed all of his nightmares without rhyme or reason. No matter how powerful it was, there was no way it could hold out against the power of the nightmares. The dream taper's cries were impossibly forlorn. Hung Jun raced to the main hall of the stone castle, almost half of the walls holding up the main hall had collapsed. The dream taper stood high up on the seat of the Shiwei king, studying Hung Jun. Black flames billowed in its eyes. "You can't do this," Hung Jun said, his emotions heightened. "The devil Qi will control you." Even now, Hung Jun still hadn't understood why the dream taper had done so. But this Yaogwai was already out of control, and the black snakes that came forth were filling the entire city. At any moment, it could cause a massive slaughter. Hung Jun activated the devil seed in his body, using it to fight for the devil Qi. The dream taper, however, let out a shrill cry, sending out a shockwave which sent Hung Jun falling backwards. The city was dead silent. The Shiwei had long since fallen asleep. The black snake slithered into the thousands of residences, coiling around the citizens who were wandering through the realm of dreams. The grey wolf staggered as it squeezed out of the room, coming to a stop in front of the fallen corridor. It let out a sobbing howl. Woo! Across the vast plains, the howls of the wolves rose and fell like waves, each successive one louder than the last. The grey wolf then, with its body of fur that had already changed color, turned into an indigo blur that glimmered like silk. It sucked in a deep breath, only to let a wild, stunning roar burst out of its chest into the night. As that howl reverberated, Hung Jun struggled to his feet. He uncoiled the Yao binding rope and studied that dream taper, only to see that the black qi surrounding them was gathering ceaselessly towards its body. Hung Jun activated the devil seed in his body, but just as he was about to suck the devil qi towards him, the dream taper suddenly pounced on him and began to attack wildly, making it so that he had no way to focus his energy. "Morijin!" Hung Jun shouted, his voice cracking. "Hurry up and come help." The grey wolf immediately turned around and dashed back. At the same time, the pack of wolves charged into the Shiwei stone castle, scattering like the tide into every household and across the streets. They held down the black snakes that slithered through, lowering their heads and tearing at them. Hung Jun was controlling the Yao binding rope with both hands, but that dream taper moved like lightning, and it was getting faster and faster. Hung Jun then raised the glaive to stop the dream taper, but when the dream taper came pouncing at him, the gates behind Hung Jun's back suddenly let out a loud boom. Morijin kicked open the almost 200 jin heavy gates with one foot, before he roared, "Get down!" Hung Jun immediately plastered him back to the ground, and Morijin, with a wave of his left hand, made it glow. The moon eclipse bow appeared, and he drew back the empty bowstring, hooked his fingers around it, and let it loose. With a weng, a burst of energy shot out, and behind him, the 7-nailed arrows suddenly burst through their quiver and shot towards that black-colored dream taper. The arrows hit the dream taper, which immediately let out a wild shriek and rolled to one side. Hung Jun turned over and leapt to his feet, pulling out the glaive. Morijin came racing after him, shouting, "What is this? What is that?" Hung Jun, however, was staring at the golden bow that Morijin was using. "Don't ask," Morijin shouted. "What should we do? Catch it?" Hung Jun said. "It sucked away all of the devil qi." Hung Jun was also very lost and confused. He wasn't sure what exactly had happened and why, but this guy had sucked away the devil qi. Evidently, it didn't know how to use it, nor had it turned into some powerful Yaogwai. What? Upon seeing that dream taper once again break through another wall and crash its way out of the stone castle, Morijin raced after it, shouting at Hung Jun, "Where did the devil qi come from?" "The stuff in my body," Hung Jun said. "It sucked away all of my nightmares." Morijin. Hung Jun. After a brief pause, the two of them both seemed to realize what had happened. Could such a good thing actually have happened? Morijin asked in disbelief. "Then doesn't that mean that your devil qi is basically gone?" "That's right," Hung Jun said, still trying to figure out how to use the devil seed to pull the nightmares back to himself. "I don't know what it's trying to do." Morrigan seemed to instantly come up with countless reasons, and after a brief pause, Hung Jun said, "We have to get the devil chi back. If it gets taken to Enlushan, that'll be bad." "Kill it," Morrigan said. "No matter what, you mustn't draw the devil chi back into your body." Hung Jun, "But..." Morrigan, "No buts. What I say goes here." Morrigan immediately reached out and tousled Hung Jun's hair, before turning, leaping into the air, and transforming into the grey wolf. With Hung Jun on its back, it raced in the direction that the dream taper had gone. End chapter. Tianbao Fu Yao Lu. Chapter 166. Resigning to fate. In the darkness, outside the city, the dream taper collapsed the city gates. The wolf pack rushed at them from all around, swarming the plains, looking everywhere. They got closer and closer, and the circle that they formed now closed in tighter and tighter. There was a single gap in the southern side, through where the grey wolf, with Hung Jun on its back, walked onto the plains. "This is even more powerful than what I imagined," the dream taper's hoarse voice trembled as it spoke. Hung Jun leapt off the wolf's back, and behind him, the grey wolf transformed back into a human. "Why exactly did you do this?" Hung Jun asked. "Was Enlushan the one who had you come here?" But as soon as Hung Jun finished speaking, a blow suddenly landed on the nape of his neck. His vision went black, and he collapsed to the ground. "My little bro's brain is very rigid," Morrigan said, coldly and calmly. "He doesn't know how to go at things at a different angle. Since I'm worried that he might end up drawing the nightmares of the 3,000 realms back into himself, I'm letting him sleep for a little bit first." Morrigan half lifted the unconscious Hung Jun, laying him down on the grass. At the same time, the moon eclipse bow appeared in his hands. The dream taper's pelt had already been burnt to the point where it resembled dried bark, and it was currently cracking and peeling away, revealing the crimson red flesh and blood beneath. "How long have you spied on the Shaiwei?" Morrigan asked darkly. "I remember you." "I also remember you," the dream taper replied solemnly. "I thought that you would never come back again." Morrigan demanded, "How did Enlushan know that we would return? Tell me." But the dream taper jeered in response. "There are many, many truths that you still do not know." Morrigan drew the longbow. Devil chi emitted forth from the dream taper's body, scene after scene playing out in the fog. The young hunter becoming companions with the woman in the village, and the woman standing guard under the moon, seeing that hunter off. The Shaiwei tribe conquering the village, and the Shaiwei king coincidentally finding that woman. The village burning with the fires of war, and a young Morrigan dashing to the village, only to be taken away by Shaiwei soldiers. The old shaman, face turned fully to the flames, speaking that prophecy. Morrigan was immediately shocked, and he put the moon eclipse bow down. "These are. Sachara told me to keep the secret hidden for the rest of my life," the dream taper said quietly, "but not a single one of us had ever thought that you would go south and turn into a dog of the exorcism department. I can say that, right? My little Shidi." Back in the day, Morrigan had learned to read and write under the care of the old shaman, Sachara, who had personally taught him. On a daily basis, however, he rarely interacted with the shaman's disciples, and the most interaction he had with them was to nod at them in greeting. His long, slender arms kept trembling. He lifted the moon eclipse bow, but lowered it again, and lowered it only to raise it again. "Enlushan told you to come," Morrigan said, his voice quavering. "If you say so, then let's assume that is the case," the dream taper said. Morrigan recalled back when he had been a spy hidden by Enlushan's side. Enlushan had once used the safety of the entire Shaiwei tribe as a way to coerce him into doing his bidding. At that time, he had probably already had his pieces in place. "I'll give you two paths to walk," the dream taper said. "One is to keep me here, and let the seed of Mara take the nightmares away, the second is to let me go." From what I see, in your heart, you've long since chosen between the two options. Mo Rijin roared angrily, there is still a third path. The dream taper's mouth split into a grin, as if it was smiling wretchedly. It said, knocking the seed of Mara out is the stupidest thing you could do. You really think that that artifact in your hand can scatter the nightmare devil? Mo Rijin drew the moon eclipse bow, and as soon as the bow was raised, a glow burst forth from it. The 7 nailed arrows rose into the air, hovering in front of the bowstring. Instead of considering how to go about killing me, why not worry about yourself first? Who exactly are you? And where did your father come from? The dream taper actually let out a biting laugh, before black chi suddenly exploded outwards. The flesh across its entire body cracked, as if it was molding, and from within it, a grotesque, terrifying monster came climbing out. Without even thinking about it, Mo Rijin immediately fired the arrows, which shot towards their target like meteors streaming with golden light. But with that same biting laugh, the dream taper immediately exploded into black mist, just like how the heart devil that they had fought in Dunhuang had. Wherever the meteorite arrows flew, the power of the nightmares was scattered, but black flames would spring up further away and coalesce into the form of the dream taper again. Mo Rijin raced after it, but after a few steps, savage laughter rang out through the air, and the dream taper vanished. All that was left was Mo Rijin and the unconscious Hung Jun, as well as the wolves clustering around. Mo Rijin looked in the direction that the taper had vanished in, to the west. A long while later, he transformed into the grey wolf and came to a stop in front of Hung Jun. He lowered his head and sniffed, before lifting its head again to look towards the stone castle in the distance, letting out a howl filled with rage and resentment. The wolf pack howled with him. The eastern sky turned fish-belly white, lighting up the stone castle. The dark night had passed, and the bright day had come. Now, the Shy Wei woke. When Hung Jun woke, he found that his surroundings were chaotic. He was in a garden behind the stone castle, and Mo Rijin was sitting on a stone by his side. His long, slender fingers absent-mindedly toyed with Hung Jun's throwing knives. Hung Jun asked tiredly, "What happened?" Then he suddenly remembered that at the very last moment, Mo Rijin had been the one to knock him unconscious. Mo Rijin looked up and glanced at Hung Jun, a trace of mirth in his eyes. "Congratulations, the nightmare devil has already been dealt with," Mo Rijin said. Hung Jun frowned. "Where's that monster?" "I let it run away," Mo Rijin replied. "How could you let it go just like that?" Hung Jun came back to his senses. If the enemy was someone that Lushan had sent, then with this, it had been able to steal away the last of the 3 kinds of devil chi. If it handed it over to Lushan, what could they do? "We only had the moon eclipse bow and the Yao binding rope," Mo Rijin replied easily. "We would not have been able to get rid of the devil chi." "But I could." "You couldn't." "I can." "You cannot," Mo Rijin replied firmly. Hung Jun immediately went quiet. Mo Rijin continued, "Us Gegas will not let you sacrifice yourself any longer to bear the burdens of that which you should not bear." There was no way that Hung Jun could accept what Mo Rijin had done, and he practically roared at him in his anger. "Do you understand what you've done?" "Of course I understand," Mo Rijin replied. Hung Jun said, "Once the dream taper, with the nightmares of all realms, goes back and hands them over to Lushan, if they get consumed, Lushan will become Mara. All the hard work that we've put in all this time, everything that we've sacrificed, as long as Lushan becomes a devil, then this world. If we aren't even able to protect our own, how will we be able to protect this world?" Mo Rijin had the throwing knife between his fingers, pinching the blade, handing it hilt first to Hung Jun. He continued, "If it was anyone else in this position, Atai, Yangtze, Kaiyan, Lu Su, Jinglong, every one of us would make the same choice that I did. If, because of my decision, I will cause the deaths of even more people and create consequences even more severe, then they can all come at me." Hung Jun studied Morajin quietly, his eyes brimming with tears that slipped down his face. Morajin simply looked up at him, the corners of his mouth quirked up slightly. Just as their eyes met, Morajin's younger brother Kiro came. He stopped in front of the two of them and suddenly said something in shy way. Last night, the Dream Taper's mad dash had caused many parts of the stone castle to collapse, and the guards were currently undertaking repairs. The Shy Wei King had also been startled pretty badly last night, so the first thing he did in the morning was naturally to summon Morajin and interrogate him on what exactly had transpired. I won't go. Morajin, however, replied in the Han language. Hung Jun. Kiro said something else, probably something along the lines of that's your dad. Morajin, however, simply tilted his head up, a trace of confusion in his eyes. He's not my dad, nor are you my little brother. I am not a member of the Shy Wei, and this is not my home. Kiro was immediately shocked. Hung Jun had overheard the female shaman and the Shy Wei King talking then, and he wondered, does he already know? The heavens and earth are an inn, and I am simply a passing traveler in this stone castle, Morajin said to Kiro, rising to his feet as he did so. Go back and tell him that there is no need to worry about the Shy Wei tribe belonging to the Grey Wolf, nor does he need to worry about me exacting revenge on anyone. I will always remember his kindness in taking me in. Kiro kept retreating backwards, his eyes filled with horror, but without much surprise. Evidently, this rumor had spread far and wide a long time before Morajin left the Shy Wei and headed south. For the sake of the entire tribe, Morajin said, do not join in Lushan's armies marching south again. If we meet again on the battlefield, I will still show you mercy. Hung Jun, we're leaving. Hung Jun. Hung Jun left with Morajin. Morajin had been patiently waiting in the garden not for the sake of giving someone an explanation, but simply so that Hung Jun would wake up. He rode on the Grey Wolf's back, and when the Grey Wolf slowly ambled through the city gates, he couldn't resist turning his head back to look. It was daybreak, and the guards along the top of the city walls all raised their bows and knocked arrows to the strings as they grew nervous. The Grey Wolf did not linger any longer, with Hung Jun in tow, just like when it had arrived, it sped into the distance, glimmering with thousands of rays of sunlight. Hung Jun had been waiting this entire time for Lu Su to come into his dreams once more so that he could relay this information to them, but Lu Su did not show up. We must get back as quickly as we can, Hung Jun said to the Grey Wolf. Jenga, where are you heading? The Grey Wolf raced across the plains. Around noon, it headed up a little mountain slope, looking into the distance. There was its mother's homeland, as well as that lone peak where the moon eclipse bow had been hidden. Hung Jun, do you remember that day that we met? The Grey Wolf suddenly asked. I remember, Hung Jun replied uneasily. What of it? The first person to enter the exorcism department was me, Morajin said, isn't that right? Hung Jun ed, before asking, did you all agree beforehand on the order which you all would go in? Afterwards, Hung Jun had heard Li Jinglong mention that Morajin, Qiu Yangxi, and A Tai had actually met up long before they entered the exorcism department. Not really, the Grey Wolf said absent-mindedly, looking out at the lone peak. We only happened to meet in the alleyway outside. On that day, Morajin, with his quiver of arrows slung across his back, asked for the whereabouts of the exorcism department from some passerby. He had just so happened to pass by a food stall where Atai and Qiu Yangxi were drinking an after-meal cup of tea. Hey, look at that skinny tall guy, Qiu Yangxi said. Could that be another one? Qiu Yangxi's eyesight was the best in the exorcism department. Atai had just arrived in Chang'an when Qiu Yangxi had honed in on his fingers covered in rings. When he saw Morajin heading towards them, he had spoken those words deliberately, and his voice had been pitched much louder. From amidst the hubbub of the market, Morajin had heard the words that he had said, and he turned to glance at Qiu Yangxi. In due time, he came to the table that the two of them were at, and he sat down. Ah, Hung Jun said, remembering. That afternoon, Zhao Zilong and I were looking at books in the bookstore. It was only after it got dark that you passed through the small alleyway, right in front of me, the gray wolf said quietly. The three of us followed behind you, only to see you enter the exorcism department. Hung Jun was surprised. Why didn't you call out to me? The gray wolf said, we hadn't even figured out the situation yet. The next day, they told me to go inside first and try to get a read on you. Hung Jun said angrily, why do you all have so many schemes in mind? And saying this, he reached out to yank the gray wolf's ear. The gray wolf didn't duck away either, allowing him to grab its ear. It even tilted its ears backwards a little, pressing them meekly against its head. It then continued, the notice for me to report to duty was something that the old shaman left behind right before he died. My dad found it, and he then gave it to me. Where did your notice to report for duty come from? Qing Xiang gave it to me, Hung Jun said. A letter penned by Direnja himself, the gray wolf remarked. It's been many years since then. Do you still have it? I handed it over to Zhenqi, Hung Jun replied. It's probably in Chang'an, right? The gray wolf then said, remember what I asked you the first day we met? Hung Jun really couldn't remember, and he shook his head. The gray wolf added, since Direnja has been dead for so many years, who sent out these letters? This was a puzzle that none of the members of the exorcism department had been able to solve since the day the department had been formed, no matter how hard they racked their brains. But as they slowly encountered life and death experiences and advanced and retreated as one, this seemingly unresolvable question had slowly been forgotten. No one spent their time searching for the answer any longer. Sometimes, Hung Jun would remember, but it seemed to have been something that was fated to happen amongst the many coincidences in the world. The gray wolf looked back towards the lone peak in the distance, as if it had spotted some connection in the midst of all of this. It said quietly, I have a feeling that the answer to this question will be revealed very soon. And saying this, it turned and took Hung Jun with it down the mountain slope, speeding swiftly towards the south. Over the Tong Pass, black clouds closed in over the city. The early spring flows of the rivers had broken through the ice that crusted over it, and the spring chill had turned into a light rain. Spring this year had come earlier than it had in previous years. The roads were a mess of mud, and the snow that had covered the corpses along the sides of the main road that had accumulated over the course of almost 2 months slowly melted, revealing the remains. They had frozen over into a swathe of black that was indistinguishable from the mud of the road, but sometimes, as the rain washed over them, it would reveal the clothes and items on their bodies, which allowed others to make out that these were people. The great army of Tong Pass had finally sent troops out of the pass because of Bian Lingqing's repeated forceful efforts. Li Jinglong was now just able to ride a horse, but he still had no way to ride out onto a battlefield and fight. Ashinakayan, Atai, and Lu Su followed behind him. Tu Rainduct was already 8 months pregnant, so Li Jinglong had requested that she retreat early to Chang'an. After all, the journey would be arduous, and with her pregnancy, she would have to travel slowly. The exorcism department only had 4 members who could do battle, and they followed behind the Great Tong Pass army, fording several rivers as they headed towards the Shan Commandery. This is a battle that we cannot win, Li Jinglong said to his subordinates as the army stopped to rest by a creek. The key lies in how to fight the battle so that we can make a brilliant retreat. Atai and Ashinakayan frowned but did not speak. Lu Su asked, can't we wait for the big wolf and Hung Jun to return? Li Jinglong did not reply, and Lu Su also realized how foolish his words had been. Even if the exorcism department had endless skills to call upon, they would not be able to stop the mortal armies from marching to their deaths, and if the mortal armies were to march to their deaths, that meant that the force commanding them, the mortal Emperor Li Longji, was bringing danger down on his own head as well. If they had gone with Feng Changqing's plan to hold out in Tong Pass, they would have been able to fend off their attackers for quite a while. but with the Yaoguai ambushing the city, the morale in the pass was low. They had to set out immediately to get rid of the Yaoguai, only then would they be able to have a chance at victory. Let's think about how to deal with that blood Yao, Atai said, tugging at his ear. Is it a blood Yao? It's a painted skin Yao, the carp Yao replied. Why are you still here? Ashinakayang asked. Hurry up and go. Why is it me again? The carp Yao wailed. If I go back now, Danhuo will probably kill me. We're sending you to go gather military reports, Lu Su replied expressionlessly. Do you not know how to be careful? Gather what reports? The carp Yao asked pleadingly. Yaoguai don't do any reports in the first place. Then go cause some mischief, Li Jinglong said. If you kill Liang Danhuo, I'll put you down as having performed the most meritoriously of us all. And saying that, Li Jinglong kicked the carp Yao into the river. The carp Yao wailed about how cold it was as it sank into the icy water, swimming along downriver with the current. The carp Yao was so damned noisy, and leaving aside the fact that it had made no contributions, it constantly loved to undercut Li Jinglong. Originally, he hadn't wanted to bring it, he wanted it to go back to Chang'an with Tu Raindot. It, however, valiantly offered to stay to wait for Hung Jun to return, so he had had no choice but to bring it along with them. Li Jinglong was currently irritated, and he didn't have Hung Jun's patience to listen to it constantly chatter on, so he had taken the chance to send it off to scout out some information on the enemy in order to ensure that their ears were given some peace and quiet. End chapter.